Well, this was a fun little episode. Don't get me wrong, the concept's been done to absolute death, but I suppose it was handled pretty decently this go around. At least, as well as this premise can be handled. It doesn't mean I like it, however. The good old-fashioned trade episode seems to be a staple of media, from cartoons to video games. Zelda is notorious for these, and I remember Ed, Edd and Eddy doing one, Foster's Home doing one, and I'm fairly certain that the Powerpuff Girls did one. Basically, if you've ever seen a cartoon, you've seen this plot. Something I thought was really nice is the fact that all 6 ponies, and I suppose 7 if you count Spike's absolutely minuscule role, get their own conflict and subplot behind the Rainbow Shy plot. And I just realized it sounds like I just shipped my favorite pony with my least favorite pony. Celestia, damn it. Pinkie and Twilight are trying to sell off Twilight's surplus of books, which in of itself is strange to begin with. I would never have thought Twilight would try to get rid of books, since she loves them so much. As a fellow book pone, I must protest! AJ and Rarity seem to get themselves stuck in a loop. Each of them agrees to pool their trade stash and then agrees to trade for pretty worthless items for entirely disproportionate amounts. Then argue about who should make the terrible decision. Just, what the hell? A rusted pie tin and a brooch that Rarity already owns? Why is this even a thing? And finally, we have the Rainbow Shy plot. As the main plot, it's got a lot more meat to it than the others, and centers around Rainbow desperately trying to get her hooves on a first edition Daring Do book, autographed by A.K. Yearling herself, and totally misjudging the value of her rusty old horseshoe. So I suppose that's a nice lesson to teach, that sentimental value only has value to you, and its true value may be a lot less than what you think. At least until they use Twilight to completely negate that, but we'll get around to that one. You know, I think I know why the 6 were split up for this one. It's easier to write groups of 2 than one group of 6. That way every pony gets lines, and no pony is just set dressing. I understand wanting to do that, and I've done the exact same thing before, but the problem becomes the conflicts. Instead of one conflict to handle, now we've got 3, and some of them are really contrived. Rarity and AJ's argument is completely contrived and stupid, and Pinkie and Twilight's just didn't need to exist. I understand that making a swap meet episode interesting is hard, but come on. Overwhelming the audience with conflicts isn't the way to do it. Something I suppose was nice is that Twilight's princesshood worked into the story, and the only reason people want her stuff is because of it, but all it really was a nod to continuity. This episode was pretty pointless when it comes down to it, but does that mean I'm going to stop the analysis right here? Hell no! Another problem I had was the way Fluttershy was handled. Fluttershy is timid and shy, true, it's in the name, but as the series has gone on, most of her character development has been about her learning to stand up for herself, learning to say no, and basically not being a doormat. The Fluttershy we saw in Friendship is Magic Part 1 is completely different to the Fluttershy we saw in Dragonshy, which is different to the one in Putting Your Hoof Down, which is far less confident than the Fluttershy we saw in Philly Vanilli, but here, she's relegated to doormat again. She sacrificed her entire day at the swap meet to help Rainbow get her book, instead of trading in her Chekhov's brand bear call like she wanted. She has to put up with so much shit and even get sold into slavery without so much as a meek protest. Just come the buck on. I've said the main reason I dislike Rainbow Dash as a character is her selfishness and her amazing ability to always make the wrong decision. Hell, making the wrong decision was probably going to be her cutie mark before the whole Rainbow thing, and this just takes the cake. She sold her best friend for a book. Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash are 2 of the closest to the main 6 in my opinion, and I have to admit that my favourite Rainbow Dash moments are when she and Fluttershy are together. But this is just unforgivable. Who even wrote this? Scott Sonneborn. His only other episode is Some Pony to Watch Over Me? What the actual... I mean, Some Pony wasn't my favourite episode by any means, but it was at least semi-decent. Actually, now that I think about it, most of my problems with Some Pony also apply here. Small characterization errors that build and build until they're so glaringly obvious that they're offensive. Only this time, he beefed up Fluttershy so badly that it almost ruined the episode for me. AJ and Rarity are acting like children all throughout, and it really becomes a problem once their initial scene ends and it just becomes them sitting in the middle of the aisle for the majority of the episode, pushing bags back and forth like children. No, you take them. No, you. No, you. I'm telling Twilight. Nuh-uh. You get the idea, etc., etc. Of course, Rainbow does her usual rigmarole of, oh no, I made the wrong decision again and now I need to fix it. Then she takes Fluttershy's new owner to the court of Book Princess in order to reverse the trade. Of course, the trade is legal because both ponies got what they wanted, but Rainbow is just so very sorry and regrets her mistake to trade a friend for a book. Just, come on, it shouldn't have even reached that point to start with. Jeez, I can just imagine that letter to Celestia. Dear Princess Celestia, today I learned that slavery is wrong and I probably shouldn't sell my best friend into it. Hugs and kisses, Rainbow Dash. Oh well, it'll get sorted out in the end at least, and we still have that lesson about sentimental value, right? Wrong. This entire time, Pinkie has been trying to help Twilight sell off her book surplus by amping up the hype for Princess Hand-Me-Downs. Pinkie's actually on top form here with her usual enthusiasm and comedy without being totally lol so random. And I really like her sales pitches. It's like she was watching the Flim Flam Brothers and said to herself, you know what, I want to do that, but then misses the subtlety of selling useless crap to rubes. Unfortunately, she sells the used princess memorabilia thing too hard and makes everyone lose interest, thinking that their trades wouldn't be worth it. Of course, that works out for Twilight when she realizes that Pinkie was right. These items are worth more than anyone could possibly pay for them, since they all have deep sentimental value and relate to adventures that all 6 of them have had. Well, there's that moral out the window. This episode was very meh. I didn't hate it, but all of these issues just pile up and up until they're just so glaring that I can't unsee them. It didn't need to exist, and as a premise, the whole trade meet thing's pretty dumb to death and just needs to never return. Numerical scores aren't my thing. I'll normally leave that to Keg Standard and Phantom Horn, but I have to say that this episode merits 6 yays out of 10. It wasn't very good, but it wasn't bad either. Could have been better, could have been worse. Now, we had a week-long break from new episodes, so let's see what we missed. Ooh, 2 Rainbow Rock shorts, one with Fluttershy and one with all 6. Well, let's get cracking, shall we? So far, it seems like the trailer was entirely made from scenes from these shorts, which is a little worrying, but I've also heard that Trixie will be the villain this time around. So, that's cool. Best Unicorn's gone far too long without a proper role. Anyway, let's get started with Hamstocalypse now. Other than the horribly forced pun, could they seriously not have called it Hampocalypse? Pun choice aside, this is fairly enjoyable. A lot of other analysts talk about Rarity's comedic potential and timing, and while I haven't analyzed an episode where she actually has it yet, I do admit that those are some of my favorite moments in this series with that silly marshmallow. And Fluttershy's on top form too, or at least as top form as she can get in a city. I have to admit, transplanting Fluttershy from a rural town filled with animals to an urban environment certainly makes her weirder. But I suppose when you're as passionate for animals as Fluttershy is, and you live in an industrialized area, you take what you can get. Anyway, Fluttershy works at the animal shelter and volunteered as tribute for the yearly cleaning of the hamster habitat. Wow, this must be a really shitty shelter if they can only clean the hamsters once a year. Fluttershy brings Rarity along to watch the hamsters while she cleans the habitat. And in that time, she's named all of them and taught them the ways of vanity and cattiness. Fluttershy tries to smooth it over, and all seems lost until a tambourine falls out of Fluttershy's bags. It just so happens that Fluttershy's horse girl element is the tambourine, so she ponies out and brings all the hamsters home, yay! All in all, a solid short, but something seemed off about it. Almost like the writers were panicking and saying, "Oh Christ, we need a short for Fluttershy, what do we do?" And one of the writers just slammed his hands on the desk and said, "Put her in an animal shelter with Rarity and a tambourine, go." But, oh well, it's a 3-minute short, what really was I expecting? And next up on this double feature... Oh no. Please, Celestia, no. Ugh. Well, I was fearing this, but here we go. Shake your tail. It's almost a full minute shorter than Hamstocalypse now, so I suppose that could be good. All in all, it's a music video, with that god-awful song from the trailer. Okay, I can't really say that, it's better. The chorus still sucks, but the other verses make up for it, in my opinion. The story behind the music is that the main 6 need to put together an event for the school, and each of them have their own ideas, of course based on their personalities. Wait. Main 6... Oh no. Oh no. Twilight, what are you doing there? Run! Run! Get out of there while you still can! Unless you're Horse Girl Twilight. In that case, there totally isn't another universe where you're a magical pony princess that does magic and stuff. Carry on. We also get to see that the boots aren't hiding hideous pod feet as we'd feared. Instead, the Horse Girls just have regular old human feet. But for some reason, giant boots are just in style. Maybe this is like the giant hats of the pony universe. Their legs do look a little bit spindly, though. The themes are pretty nice, too. Pinkie has a luau theme in mind, Rainbow has sports, AJ with a rodeo theme, Rarity has a masquerade, Twilight has... education, and a library? And Fluttershy has animals. Of course, nobody can agree until they mesh all 6 of the themes into an ungodly clashing abomination. Plus, we finally get to see what all of the horse girls will dress and play like on stage. Of course, Rainbow's on guitar and Fluttershy's on tambourine. How does that even work in a rock band? But Twilight's the lead singer, Rarity's on keyboard, Pinky's on drums, and AJ's on bass. I think I would have liked them to put Flutters in a vocal role, but I suppose that the dancing one with the tambourine's good too. What really irritates me, though, is how they look. They look like Kiss had an incident with Jem and the holograms on a teleporter, like some bucked-up version of The Fly. Both of these shorts were pretty neat, but they didn't do too much to build more hype, not after the stellar music to my ears and guitar centered. But at least Hamstucklips Now shows that the writing might be better this time around, and Shake Your Tail hopefully means that the horrible trailer song won't show up in the movie itself. Anyway, everyone, that's me done for today. As always, I'm Nozovix, and we've been staring at Traja, Hamstucklips Now, and Shake Your Tail. Not the greatest episode, nor the greatest shorts, but I had fun with them. Now I have a question for you. Everyone loves when the main 6 gets together, but except for very few occasions, it just doesn't work, because some pony always has absolutely nothing to do. And it's shown here that splitting them off and trying to have 3 separate stories just doesn't work in one episode. As such, I pose this. Should episodes with all 6 be reserved for episodes that specifically forward the season's plot? Or should they just be reserved for writers with a little bit more experience on the show and the characters? I mean, Scott's only written 1 episode prior to this, and goes full ham with a main 6 episode in his next one? Especially when Some Pony to Watch Over Me wasn't exactly the best thing ever. Anyway, who am I to judge? He's got a job on the show, and I don't. That's why I'm letting you judge, anonymous YouTube voices. Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, everybody, and follow me on the Twitter and the Tumbles, and I'll see you next time.